morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are we all today? Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's time for work and play.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Did you get
That
any
one I
sleep,
never
Evelyn?
used AI for that song.
What?
That little ditty, I've never used AI on that one. That one just came out one. I was on a, what was I on? I was on a mailbox power meeting one morning when they used to do them every day, and that just came out. I
Oh my
literally opened my mouth and it came out.
Good morning, Peggy. You look like you're back from Portugal and Europe.
How
I
was the
am.
trip?
I
Is it
am
good
back.
and
Welcome back.
relaxing?
Somebody was nice enough to share a cold with everybody on the ship.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Well, recovering from that, but yeah, I'm good.
all
I
right.
love river cruises.
Ah, river, the best.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
that I'd ever want to get on a big ship again.
Oh my. Wow. Okay,
Big
yeah.
ships have their place, but if you want total relaxation and total just river cruises are the best because you can just sit there in the lounge and just watch the scenery as you float down the river.
Yep.
Yeah, when we did locks. We had six
Oh,
locks each
yes.
way because we went up and back down, so that was a lot of fun. Lots of fun. Yeah, it was relaxing. I took 2 days off from the bus tours and just sat there, like you said. And well, I sat out front because I don't like all that air conditioning. And it was great. Beautiful, beautiful country, Portugal.
Yeah, I
Billions
couldn't.
of grapevines, and
Yeah,
they're adding more.
I
Wow.
couldn't exactly sit outside. It was December in Europe. We were doing the Christmas market cruises.
Oh, yes. Well,
Yes.
it was in the high 80s.
Yeah, no, we weren't that high. You
Yeah.
couldn't sit outside
Yeah.
Yeah.
unless you were fully wrapped up. With,
A- All right.
yeah.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Open Office Hour with Zanekin Studio. So, this is our weekly session where we explore practical ways founders and small teams can actually use AI in their business. So, we'll keep these questions in mind as we proceed. What's real? What's useful? What's hype? What changes workflows? What changes business? And maybe most importantly, what changes human behavior? So, whether you're here live or watching later, welcome and let's dig in. So I'm Terza Ekholm of Zanekin's co-founder of Zanekin Studio, and joining me as always is my co-founder and co-host Helen Brahms. Helen brings a creative vision to Zanekin Studio and helps translate everything we do with AI into things real businesses can actually use. So Helen, start us off the way we like.
Well, kia ora and welcome everybody. You'd have to excuse the froggy throat. I've been eating ice cream lately, and dairy is having an effect on me, and it usually doesn't. So, but anyway, it's just one of those things you got to deal with in life. Avoid the ice cream to keep the frogs away. And that is not today. That's just from eating yesterday. But anyway, that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about AI today. So this week I used AI. I've been using ChatGPT. I've been using NotebookLM. What else have I been using? I think that's just it I've been using this week. And it's just been just for day-to-day stuff, helping create images for posts that I do on social media, maybe giving me a few notes, like putting out brainstorming has been my biggest one with ChatGPT, brainstorming podcast ideas. NotebookLM, I've been using it because I'm setting up a new part of my genealogy business, which is legacy anthems, which we talked about like, was it 3 weeks ago? And so we're creating that as a service, and we're now getting the landing page done. And NotebookLM has been helping me do all the business plans and everything for that side of things. So my question for you today is, who has been using AI this week and what you've been using it for? And the crowd goes wild. Bridget.
I've been using it for legal reasons. Not that I'm going to rely on it, but just to get the first up on what are my legal ramifications and what do I need to do move forward. So it empowers me because it's giving me all the different avenues and things that I would have never thought to ask. So
Well, that's a good use for it. What questions should I ask? Just don't go quoting any cases.
what do you mean?
Oh, when we were on the cruise, we had a lawyer on there named AJ, and he was really good. He spoke English, not legalese, which was awesome. And he was telling us that a guy actually got disbarred because he turned in this motion and everything else, and was quoting all these different cases. And the judge looked at him and go, "These cases don't exist. Where did you get this from?" And he admitted he got ChatGPT to write it for him, but he didn't fact check it, and so he ended up getting disbarred.
Yeah, no, I'm not using it for fact. I'm just using it for my own personal reasons,
Yeah,
what steps I need to take.
awesome. That's a great use for it, just to give you some ideas and things as well. Awesome, excellent. Thank you. Anybody else? Michelle.
Primarily just ChatGPT, at least in this last week. Yesterday a lot, and a good part of it is just working on my business and finishing up different elements of stuff that I've been redoing. And then part of it's research. Like in one thing I did yesterday was a lot of research on different AI tools that I might want to use and how they factor in, because it knows a lot about what I'm doing, because I use ChatGPT the most. And it
Yep.
actually helped me prepare for my conversation I was having with Terza yesterday.
Awesome.
And stuff. And then somehow or another last night, because I do it also a lot for personal, like when I'm having like issues with like I just can't break through like grief or something else. And last night, somehow or another, I wound up into an incredible like humor session that it had me laughing my tail off, like nearly falling out of my chair after crying all morning. So it was like, that was interesting. And I'm like, I have to try that one again. It was unexpected.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that when it can make you laugh. I actually said to it one time, I says, "Look, I need something to laugh about. The day's been crappy. I need some laughter." And ChatGPT kept coming up with the worst jokes I have ever heard in my entire life. And I looked at it and I went back, "I'm not even cracking a smile here." And so it was like, okay, we got to get this going. We got to get moving. We're going to make Helen smile. Come on, what can we do? Let's come up with some more jokes. And I was doing my GPT agents was getting pulled into all of this as well. And so they're starting to come up with more jokes, and I'm like, these are getting worse.
Well,
And
these
so
are
so ChatGPT was telling the agents, "Come on, we need to pull together as a team. We're going to make Helen laugh." And the whole conversation was just absolutely hilarious, but the jokes were terrible. So
and then
I'm glad you're able to get some laughter out of that.
oh
That's
yeah, it was
awesome.
like really cool because it was funny because it was like telling me, oh, I should just go out and take a walk, because it was like, late evening but not dark yet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's super humid and like I'll get eaten by mosquitoes. And it was like, because it knows I live in North Central Texas, and
Yep.
stuff. And then it comes back with all this hilarious stuff about the mosquito like army brigade. This, I don't know, it's like not those words, but other stuff. And then something else come up about like the fire ants and the flies and then this, and then it had this bam, bam, bam with all the different things with them and tying it together in these different organizations. And it was hilarious. And it just
That's
kept
awesome.
going for like an hour.
Yeah, I love bantering with ChatGPT. You can get some good fun out of it. That's awesome, though. I'm glad you felt better by the end of the conversation, though, which was good.
Yeah, the whole day got better. It did get better. And that ended my evening really well. Like I could go to sleep on a good note.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for sharing, Nancy.
Hi. So I have an article that I had to write for an online magazine, and I've had a couple of those, which is kind of fun. And they give you the questions and you answer it. So I had done it once before with chat. So I took that whole conversation, put it in, and I said, okay, we're not going to sound like this. We're going to sound different. 'Cause I want it to sound like I'm a robot. And I put in the questions as we went. And he started becoming really redundant with a lot of the answers. And I said, you just said that about the previous question. You're being redundant. I said, I don't want to say the same thing over and over again. Oh, that
Yeah.
was a really good catch. I'm like, why am I having to have to catch that? And that's happened several times lately on me where it seems to just kind of go almost, I don't want to say a loop because it's not quite that bad, but it just repeats a lot of the same types of things almost. I mean, not even in a different context, in the same context. So it's kind of frustrating, but ultimately I got there where I wanted to be and I felt really good about it.
When I've had that is called a loop when it gets into stuff like that. So I just create a completely new chat and
Oh,
deal with
okay.
it that
Good to
way.
know.
And
Yeah,
then
because
the
once it's in a loop in that chat, you're not going to get out of that thread with that. You're not going to get out of that loop. Start a completely new chat and
yes.
do it that way.
Yeah, I completely agree with Helen. Starting a new chat is a good thing to do. The other thing I've found is you can choose thinking mode is one of your choices at the bottom of
Forget
your
about those.
chat. And I just changed it to thinking mode. The other thing you could look at is your personalization, your customization of your conversations with ChatGPT. But I'm with you, Nancy, and Helen and others. It's just sometimes you're chatting along and you're like, why are you giving these really dumb answers?
Yes.
So,
I mean, I pulled ChatGPT up on it and says, look, you've given me the same answer for the last 5 questions, and you keep going back to that same answer. That answer is not going to work. I need a different answer. And it comes back and goes, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me rewrite it. And it puts in exactly the same answer. And that's when I go to a new chat.
Well, I don't get exactly, which is the nice thing.
Yeah.
But it's
Well,
close
I call it
enough that it's
exactly because
just
it's
like so
basically the
redundant
same.
in
Yeah.
the information. It's like boring. What we got there?
Yes. So I think, I'm just looking at the questions here. Peggy, I don't know what AI could do for that, but if anybody's reading the comments, it says, I have an hour of work to log in to accounts to get the invoice and the file in the proper file for the bookkeeper. Is there an AI which could at least log in and download the invoice? Plus many logs and require a second verification. Any ideas? I don't. Does anybody else have any ideas on that one? With second verifications, it's very difficult with that because you have to be a human in order to get through that. So
yeah,
if you're doing that, yeah.
I could plug that in a little bit later in this meeting to Claude or ChatGPT and see what they answer. Same thing for Dean's question that he
Yep.
also just posted, which does anyone have some tips on how I can get Claude to write better, non-repetitive also? Kind of this
Did we
same
ever send
thing.
out those PDFs I sent you with the shortcuts in it? Because there's two PDFs. One's for ChatGPT and one's for Claude, and they have like short codes or something that you can put in there. Like if in ChatGPT you put /human and then you put what you want, it comes back sounding more human. If
I've
you
been
put in there
seeing,
/truth, it stops praising you every time. And
yeah, Helen, I've been seeing things online that, people, whether it's Facebook or YouTube or whatever, they'll say, hey, if you want ChatGPT to write you honestly or, put in this code, if you want it, whatever. I signed up for Claude. I got a paid account because I was so impressed with how Claude writes, and it's very thorough and thoughtful. And in the last 2 weeks, it just seems to have gone downhill that I had a 30-minute session where I was trying to rewrite something for one of my marketing pieces. And instead of argue with Claude after like the fourth time, I said, okay, thank you, I'll use that, bye. And I just wrote one myself completely with,
mm-hmm.
and I just don't know. I've really noticed a big difference in Claude lately, that it's just not where it was. So I don't know if anybody else has had that experience or they have any tips to get it to perform better.
The only thing I can think of is the short codes, but if Terza doesn't have the PDFs, I'll send them over to her to send out with the emails. You're on mute, Terza. We get.
There
Oh,
we
there
go.
she goes.
I found the link to the docs, the folder that has the docs, and I put it in chat.
Thank you. But yeah, there's some different shortcuts. But as far as getting it to start working, that's interesting that it's gone downhill. I haven't noticed. I haven't used Claude this week, so I haven't noticed that.
I will say early,
Ah,
I ran into, so it depends on when it was. Claude actually went down a few days ago, down not as in completely inaccessible, but I was, it would go away for a while and it would come back with a really dumb answer. So I just went back I came back the next day and restarted whatever it was I was chatting with it about, and it was much better.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
That could be why it went down and it's still coming back up. That
Yeah.
would explain a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else used AI this week, and what have you used it for? Robert.
Mute myself. So I'm in the real estate business. So when you do CMAs, that's where you determine a price for a home. There is an AI version now that's available that will do the CMA for you. So I use that because it's really quick. But then I also look at like a realtor one where I would do it myself, and I bounce them against each other. And that kind of gives me a better indication of the price. And a lot of times, a lot of sellers believe their houses are worth more than they really are. And they'll give you some justification. Sometimes they're right, that their house should be priced better. But then I generated an AI critique saying, okay, based on the information the seller has provided, does that warrant a better price? And sometimes it comes back, yes, but then what are the risks involved of pricing at that level? And then it gives you the kind of a strategy of what you should do to get that price for a premium priced home, and some of the risk involved. So I thought it was really good.
Excellent. Awesome.
And then standard stuff with my letter writing and my compliance reviews of my posting, which is really gave me a good warm fuzzy when I run them through the compliance reviewer, because I don't get in trouble.
That's always a good thing. That's always a good thing.
Sometimes it's the online community that does it. They'll come back and I'm going, oh my God, I shouldn't have put that word in or whatever.
Yeah, that's all. It's good. Good for that sort of stuff too. Dean's put a thing. Do you have the link to the AI CMA tool?
Yeah, it's if you have RPR mobile.
I generally use the desktop version, but I have both.
Yeah, the mobile is the AI version.
Oh, okay. So that's the one I played with that a little bit.
Yeah, that's really good because it's really quick.
Well,
if you use
most realtors don't want to do a CMA themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of a lazy tool.
Yeah, but it gives you the real quick version, and then you can look at it and say, oh, okay, I would go in and I go in and do my own, but it kind of gives me a kind of a benchmark, real quick benchmark to go against, and maybe I would choose different properties than it did, or sometimes it gives it more than I would look at.
Well,
It comes out real quick.
I've used that tool once, and I've used their other tools several times before going to a listing appointment, and I'll have a good idea in my head what the value should be. And then I go and I look at the property, and it didn't take into effect the remodeling and all the things that, the customer didn't tell me about on the phone. And when I even mention any they get angry with me. So I just keep it to myself now, because there's a lot of factors that it's not considering. And I guess like any CMA, you have to put in, if they've remodeled a bathroom or if they've upgraded this or that to make those adjustments.
Yep.
Awesome. So. Okay. Emmeline.
Hey, good morning. I actually used AI two different ways this past week. One, I am in the process of trying to find the right platform for marketing some of my ebooks and digital products. And so I used ChatGPT to analyze like 8 of the top 10 different platforms and compare them with exposure, costs, and all the different kinds of things so that I can analyze and determine what's the best way for me to go. So that was one of the projects I worked on this week. And then I also used AI in helping to write a script for video that I had taken for my YouTube channel. And so that was very, very helpful because I had a whole lot of videos that I put in and I said, please write a script to go with this. And then from there, I did a voiceover and I was able to get the whole thing put together using my VA and got it uploaded into YouTube. So that was using it in a couple of different ways.
I like the idea of, I like both of those ideas, especially the one, and even Sarah says it about analyzing publishing platforms. That's a really cool idea as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Excellent.
Thanks.
Anybody else got anything that they've used AI for this week? Michelle?
Yeah, there's one other thing that I was doing research with it yesterday, because I have like a tool that I use on my desktop for email because I have a lot of different email accounts. And like I'm notorious for not keeping up with email. And there's a lot of things I want to get rid of and deal with. And anyway, so I did a bunch of questions between Google and Chat and Google's AI. And it gave me like this whole like string of how to use exact tools that I have and do it for basically free to like set it up so that it can actually go through and look at all my emails and give me back what I want to know, and then help me like once I have to go do a first order to kind of clean it up because there's just way too much in there. But then I can have it like with AI help me to like keep track of and keep my email manageable.
Nice.
So
yes,
like a little bit
we might have to talk offline about that because my email's gotten out of control.
Yeah,
and I've lost count of how many emails I have.
Yeah, mine's like somewhere in the 70,000 range or so.
Oh no, I'm not up that high.
And I clean
probably around 7,000, but not up 70,000. No. Yeah.
So does the email thing clean up all your old email that you don't need anymore?
It could, but I'm not going to do it that way because it's like I'm just going to go through and like do a first order because I wanted to do some training on like this is junk kind of stuff first with what's there, because there's some issues of some stuff I can't unsubscribe. It just tries to add more to it. But then once I do that first order, I can have this stuff set up for like basically free with tools that I have already, no new things. And it'll handle it, and then it can just come back and summarize stuff and tell me or like tag them or whatever. And then I can just easily like, okay, this, otherwise, get rid of these things, whatever. I'll have to work with it a little bit, but it looked like a really solid way I could work with it. That'll like, even if I just did it once a week, keep it manageable.
Awesome. Excellent.
That is so cool. Michelle, would you mind, as you work through that, maybe this coming week, would you mind coming back and sharing what you found next week?
Yeah, it might take me a couple of weeks, but I'd be happy to come back and do it.
That would be awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Yep. Very cool.
There's some cool stuff. All right, anybody else before we go over to Terza to talk about what we've got to do this week? Or look at this week. I think we've got something with agents this week.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. So, Terza, it's now over to you.
Okay, well, excellent. So it was been an interesting journey this week. I try to stay away from bright, shiny objects, but I still kind of get pulled in because, that's how we are. That's how I am. So just a quick note. Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference is happening Monday, and Apple is expected to make some interesting announcements, but especially about Apple Intelligence. So I'm not going to sit there and watch it as it goes live. I'm going to wait for the summaries and the briefs, but whatever I learn there, I'll be happy to share. I will share a bit of a mistake that I made before we go directly into the agents demo that I wanted to share with you, but I just wanted to be candid on camera. So at my book club, somebody told me, somebody who I respect very much, and maybe I misheard him, but he said, Apple's gonna do this thing. We're gonna have an LLM on every device. And he went on and said some other things. So here's the thing that I did though. So because I want this to be a cautionary tale, I went over to Perplexity. I had Perplexity Pro from that PayPal thing we did almost a year ago, so it's almost coming up on its renewal, and I'll have to decide. But I said, hey, what about this thing, where you have an LLM on every iPhone and privacy and, all the other things that my friend mentioned about. And Perplexity said, oh yeah, that's you can do all this thing on your iPhone and businesses can do this. And I said, oh great, can I do a course and a playbook, and can I get a little bit ahead of the developer conference? And it gives me rolls out this whole plan, and I get all excited. And so I went over to Claude, and it wrote me a newsletter, and I sent it out to my audience. And then I woke up in the middle of the night the next night, and I went, I I think this was already on my phone since 2024. And Perplexity says, oh, yeah, that's true. And I went, I just told my whole audience that this is really great, exciting news, and it's nothing new. So, by the way, I also went and checked I asked the same question in Google Gemini, and I asked the same question in ChatGPT, and and I don't think I went to Grok, and they all agreed with me. So, just be careful. And I went back to Perplexity and complained. I said, I used you as my source of truth. And it basically came back and said, well, that's your responsibility. I went, okay. So, be careful. be careful. I didn't publish anything wrong. My excitement was more that it was going to happen this coming Monday, but it had already happened. So, and it's not as exciting as one might imagine. It's good that the Apple Intelligence is going to be wonderful, but is wonderful and will be more wonderful, but it wasn't the great wonderful thing that I was expecting it was going to be. So the other thing is to go back to my friend and say, hey, what did you really mean? So just wanted to share that. But that's not to scare you. That's just cautioning you to be cautious of what you jump into. So,
Well, Terza, you're right. You really weren't inaccurate. You just had the date wrong.
yeah.
But I look at it like this. My last car was an Audi, and I think I drove that thing for a couple of years, and I went in for service for some reason or another, and I overheard a conversation of the service manager telling about all those features and everything that this person had with their brand new Audi. I said, wow, I wish mine had that. And he goes, oh, it does. Yours has this. And he went down. So 2 years in, I felt like I had a brand new toy and discovered all these things in the digital dash and everything that my car can do that I had no idea about. So really, it's the same thing. It's already been on your phone, but you, in effect, did make us aware that this is, maybe it's not right now, but we probably never even realized it was there just like you.
Yeah.
So you actually did a good thing.
Oh, well, thank you, Dean. I think there's really some really exciting things that are just still happening. So, last week, I think it was Sarah asked me, and others in here asked me to talk about agents and to do a demo. So I'm going to show you a demo. I'm going to use Claude this time, but I'm going to show a simple direct agent. So an agent, you give a task to, and it goes off and does the task. And it's repeatable, but you have to reprompt it basically to do it. The second variety is an autonomous agent, and you give it not just a task to do, but something you want to accomplish, and you let it figure out what tasks it needs to do to accomplish the thing that you give it. So I will share that with you as well on Claude. And then the third thing I want to mention is I did all this setup for today, and a couple of days ago, because I've also been working with ChatGPT Codex, which is kind of the equivalent of Claude Code. But I wanted to use it with the OpenAI and ChatGPT because that's what I know best. And Codex has become a lot easier to use. So in all the stuff that I've been learning with Codex, I created a workflow for publishing my open office hours, the recording, the YouTube, the newsletter, etc. And so I'll share a little bit of that with you as well. So let me just dive right in before I get too far away. So let's first share screen. And let's go over to, all right, so you should be looking at I have a free Claude account. I'm not yet subscribed to it. I subscribed to it for 1 month to play with it. I really like it, but I don't want to, like you guys, I don't want to spend too much money on all these different tools. Anyway, So first we'll do the simple direct agent, and I'm just going to copy over a prompt that I did, and I'm going to say, well, here, let me go copy it. Instead of, I didn't want to use any client information, so this is my husband's email, and an email that I'm copied on. So I'm going to tell it, look in my recent email for Greg Ekholm with PMI Midwest and terms and conditions in the subject line, and then draft a response of how he can resolve the issue. Just a little bit of background. A property management company we use is now merging with another one called PMI Midwest. And in order to use the portal, you need to check the box that says terms and conditions. And, well, when my husband clicked on it, it brought up the wrong terms and conditions, which caused a lot of confusion. So it's working, it's finding the tools, it's searching for the email threads, it's receiving the specific email thread that I gave it, and it says, got it. Greg is having trouble downloading a readable copy of the Rentvine owner portal T&Cs. The document is 32 pages long, and the text is dropping or cutting off, and he wants a soft copy he can review before agreeing. So let me draft a reply for you. And it writes this really nice reply. Hi, Greg. Thank you for reaching out. I've attached, it writes a really nice reply that he could send. So then it said, here's 2 draft options depending on what you'd like to do. Option 1 is send the PDF directly, and then option 2 is direct to Rentvine Portal Fix. Use this if you want to guide him through getting the document himself, which is not exactly what he had in mind. So then, just to share what you can do, this is where doing it with a an LLM like Claude, turns out to be really helpful. Number one, it provided a draft email that Greg can use. Not only could Greg use it, but he could modify it to sound more like him. But at least he's got something to start with. And then it gave a couple of more options. But what I'd like to share is, if we move over here.
Terza, I'm just a little confused. That email, is that the one that they sent that they're basing the reply on? Because that one wasn't written by AI. The email response because it says, hi, Greg, best regards, Elsa.
Oh, you're right. It did something different than the last time. Hi, Greg, thank you for reaching out. So this is not really what I wanted. This would have been Elisa's reply to Greg, which is not what I had in mind. Okay, no, I write a draft of Greg's response.
Excuse me, Terza, did you give Claude access to your email or
Yes.
Greg's emails?
Yes, this is so not to Greg's email. My husband just happened to copy me on the conversation. I gave Claude access to my
Wow,
email.
even though you signed up just temporarily. Okay.
Oh yeah, you can do that in the free account.
No, I know you can. I
Right.
just didn't know if you would want to.
Oh, well, I did for the purposes of testing. And you would do that,
Great.
by the way. You go down to here to where your account is, and here you go up to settings, and in settings, you can click on connectors, which is over
Gotcha.
here. But over here, you can set up your connectors over here.
Yeah, I signed up for Claude recently, and I've just been hesitant to hand it over to Claude. But anyway, sorry to interrupt.
Oh,
Continue.
no. Perfect question. You can see, though, it gives you access to read-only, which is what I highly recommend. And then if for anything that has to do with reading or deleting, I always choose needs approval. So read-only stuff, I'm happy to give access for some things to my AI tools, but for writing and deleting, no way. And that's true, by the way, even for Marblism. So I don't know why we got off. Let me go down to, that's this one. let's go back to the original thing, because when I did it originally, I said, look in the same prompt, look in my recent email. And just like you said, Dean, it says, looks like I don't have the email connector. So then I went ahead and I went over to another window and connected the email. And then I said, okay, so go get it went and got the email. And you're right, Helen, thanks for pointing that out. I thought for sure this was going to be Greg's response, but it turns out it's drafted a response on Elisa's behalf. So you're right. It really answered, it wrote an email for Elisa, not for Greg to write to them. So, yeah, you're right. So at that point, because I didn't read all the way through, so whoever pointed that out, thank you. I said this addresses Greg's question, now make it warmer and more senior citizen friendly. And so it rewrote it's the same email, Elisa's response to Greg, but it wrote it much more, I think, approachable and easier to use, that she could have sent to him. So you're right, that's really not what I asked for. So, yeah, apologize for that. So, let's see what happens. So let's go back to the one I was in. All right. Yeah, I don't want to go give it a blanket. Go look in my email. So, yeah. I will leave it here because I wanted you to see that there were possibilities, and in this case it helped Elisa, not my husband. So, all right. The second part of the demo that I had arranged for you was, let's go over to here, and before you get to see this, I did this one ahead of time because it does take a little bit of time to do. So in this case, this is going to be a more autonomous action. This is more of an autonomous agent. And the direction I gave it was research a prospect and prep a client brief for Casey Eberhardt. I figured that would be safe. He's my business coach. And I'm not giving away anything that's not already public available. So I said research a prospect and prep a client brief for Casey Eberhardt using his website, and I gave it a website. And it went off. It enabled one of its own skills, which is DocX skills. I didn't tell it to do that. So now I'm not telling it how to do it. It's doing it himself. And then it says, let me fetch Casey's website and do additional research simultaneously. And then it searched the web, and it says, now I have enough to build a thorough brief. Let me create the Word document. And here you can see it ran 4 commands, none of which I would necessarily know to tell it, and then created a file and read a file. So here's the full client prospect brief for Casey Eberhardt ready to download. Here's a summary of what's inside, who he is, what his key credentials are, his business model, and the opportunity angles included. So if I was thinking of approaching him as a prospect, I would have some background to start with. And you can do this. In this case, I gave it a website. I could have given a link to his LinkedIn profile, and it would have done this research on my behalf. And so then it wrote up, as you might have seen, it wrote up a really beautiful looking document that would be for my use only. And it's a 5-page document. It goes into great depth. And if you do something like this, or if you want to know more about the people that you intend to connect with, then you come into the meeting prepared. And so this is super useful, but I only gave it one command, and it went off and did the whole thing. That's the difference. That's an autonomous agent. So before I go over to a workflow, does anyone have any questions?
What was the command that you gave it again?
I told it to research a prospect and prepare a client brief for Casey Eberhardt, my intended prospect, using his website, and because I already knew what his website was.
Is that basing it on anything that inquiries you've made in the past to get that much detail for a potential client?
Nope. He got this, Claude got it all from Casey's website.
Wow.
That's cool. I haven't played with Claude, so is there a specific place where you're telling it you want it to do the agent or autonomous agent versus you're just giving it the command like you would just a normal.
Just a normal prompt.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and this is the free account. So
That's
Wow.
even cooler.
yeah.
Do you give it a name or anything that you could use it again, or you got to just give it a prompt?
That's a really good question. So I could, presumably, I don't have the specific instructions in front of me, but I could save this prompt and take out the name, just say research a prospect and prep a client brief using the website I give you, like that, the name and the website, and save it as a skill. Right? Or the other thing is to create a project.
Okay.
So I've got a project for how to use Claude. Actually, I didn't create it. That was already provided to me to show me how to use projects. Remember, you may remember I've shown the projects to you in ChatGPT, and then I have another one for an AI sanity audit that I'm running. It's a project, and projects work the same in Claude as they do in ChatGPT, meaning it's bounded, it's specific to the topic matter that you've given it, and the prompts and other files that you use when you do these sorts of things will stay in that project. Does that make sense? Okay, so then I'll stop share here. Wait, hang on, I see something in the chat. Teresa asked a question. How much access would you want to give to emails and other private info? How secure would that be? This is a very good question, Teresa. I'd want to keep it, would want to keep it bounded. So yes, in this case, I've given access to all of my emails, but I'm directing all of my questions towards the business that I do. So that doesn't necessarily help. The different LLMs, terms and conditions, the different companies will list whether they or not they use the data that you provided for their training data. But they don't broadcast it all over the internet. But that being said, I would still always exercise a great deal of caution. So let me do a stop share. By the way, the whole privacy issue is super important. I did post a YouTube video 2 weeks ago. I think that's the one where Dean's presentation was on YouTube video, and YouTube took my video down within minutes of it being posted, by the way, citing that I or someone in the group had advocated something incorrect about privacy. And I went and searched through it, and I combed through the transcript. I didn't find anything, and I ran it through ChatGPT and some others. The only thing I could come up with was that I asked, or one of the attendees had asked a question about privacy, and I answered, and even talking about privacy can get you flagged for privacy issues. So to give credit to Dean, that happened in the community section. What I need to do is just delete that whole part and resubmit the the presentation that Dean gave us. So just wanted to share that. But I interrupted myself. The part that I wanted to go over to is Codex. I want to introduce you a little bit to Codex. And so before I shared screen, I wanted to bring it up.
Just a quick question. How did they come up with that name?
Codex?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just know that when they first came out with Codex, it was very much for developers. And so I looked at it and went, yeah, I wanted something easier. But they have made it quite a bit easier, I'll have to say. It's not foolproof. It's not always necessarily easy, but the difference is, hang on, I'm trying to move things around here. With Codex, I feel pretty comfortable going back and forth between Codex and ChatGPT and asking questions. So Codex is like Claude Cowork or Claude Code. You give it a command and it will go off and do things for you. I've started with, way back in the beginning, and all I wanted to start with is, I started with, can we plan this first? Because I had no idea what I was doing. And it went through a whole plan with me. So that was that was 4 months ago. What I'm doing now is my weekly open office hour publishing workflow. And I worked with ChatGPT on this before I did it, but I said, get the transcript from Zoom. So yes, Dean, as Dean asked earlier, I connected Codex. I allowed Codex to connect to Zoom, and go get the transcript. I want you to create a YouTube title, description, keywords, and other metadata, and then ask me any questions you need to complete this task. So I would advise, if you're going to do something complicated, more complicated than just go fetch some email, include this sentence: ask me any questions you need to complete this task. And then it went and pulled the transcript from Zoom, and it went ahead and created the YouTube metadata that I asked for. So I was able to go successfully publish that particular YouTube video. And then I said, now help me write the newsletter for it. And it puts, so here's the YouTube metadata that it created. You can see it over here. I just copy pasted the appropriate things. It included thumbnail text options. I took some of the information there and went over to ChatGPT and said, make me a thumbnail. But actually, I didn't like what ChatGPT gave me, but you can do that. Galaxy or Magica these days is good for that as well. And then so that's the metadata, and then later on, it asked me if I was going to trim it, so I cut off the first 4 seconds just to make it, but I kept the community thing in there. And anyway, it took that into consideration then when it created the timestamps. So that's a workflow now. I have it doing several tasks for me, and it goes off and does it does all the things without me having to know every single step.
What was the first prompt you used?
Hold on. Let's go back up here. I said, get the transcript from, and I went and looked up the exact title in Zoom. And then I said, create the YouTube title, description, keywords, and all the other metadata, so I can completely upload the video to my YouTube channel. And then ask me any questions you need to complete this task. So the reason I want to share all of this with you is there's a lot that's available that maybe it might look daunting at first, but I'd be happy to go through any of these things that I'm showing you more step by step. either in a private session or do further teachings or right here in the open office hour. Does anybody have any questions?
So is it going to get better?
Yes.
Is it going to get better as it goes along?
Yes, it will be easier. The thing I will caution a little bit about Codex, OpenAI is really heading more towards this enterprise level. That doesn't mean you can't use it for us solopreneurs. Just know that that's where OpenAI seems to be heading. Nevertheless, Claude does the same thing with its co-work, like Dean's posting here, and Claude. I've discovered a lot of business people are finding Claude a little bit easier and more business oriented. So when I say business, I'm talking small to medium businesses, not the big, huge enterprises. So,
We got a couple of questions in chat.
okay, so is this using free Codex? I don't know. Because I have a paid version of ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT Plus, which is the $20 version, $20 a month version. The ChatGPT Pro was $200 a month. It may still be, but I noticed that they've now offering a $100 a month subscription. And I think it's OpenAI and Anthropic seem to be sort of matching each other lately in their offerings.
I just wish they'd come out with an annual one.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
I think part of the reason they don't do that is because I think they have to become more transparent about how many tokens things use. Your requests, your agents, especially agents, can get really into the nitty-gritty and use a lot of tokens.
What tokens? I don't use any tokens in chat.
Well, that's the thing. You do. It's just they don't tell you exactly what you're using. But tokens is how they measure the level of, you could say it, a packet of compute power to process your chats and your requests.
Well, the amount of times I use ChatGPT, I'd love to know how many tokens I'm using. I didn't know I had that many. But, yeah.
You're probably not bumped it up against the ceiling. What I'll observe, though,
I do on Threads. On Threads, I will bump against the ceiling because I'll get to one point and it turns and says, "Okay, you've reached your limit on this one."
Yeah.
And you've got to start that, and you've got to start a new chat on that. So I've done that, but I haven't reached the limit overall.
Well, if you start doing agents and more complicated or more automations, you may run into it. I've run into it a couple of times on the free version of Claude. And all it says is, you're done until 3:30 this afternoon unless you want to upgrade.
Yeah.
So all right. So I will try to get the answer about free Codex. I don't know if it's free or not. Let's go ask ChatGPT. Let's go to a new tab and hang on, let me share screen so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Is there a free version of Codex? And the fast answer is yes, there's a free version of OpenAI Codex through ChatGPT free plan, but it comes with fairly limited usage. So this is that thing I was talking about. It doesn't say you only get 50,000 tokens. It never says anything like that. It just says you might hit lower usage caps and slower responses. So it's not entirely transparent, but to be fair, it might not be able to be entirely transparent.
So,
Because
Terza, although you have Codex, are you actually using it to code, or you're just using it like you would use ChatGPT?
I'm using it for like ChatGPT, but the difference is I'm asking it to go do something.
Right, agents.
Agents or even actions that I want to do, over here you can see I chat with ChatGPT, but I go over to Codex and say, do something for me.
Gotcha.
So, okay, so then there was, Sarah asked, how would you compare this to Marblism? Marblism does this in one place. This does feel daunting. Sure, I agree with you, Sarah, it can be. Marblism makes it really, they've done a really super nice job. So Marblism has 6 very specific agents that do very specific functions, and they do them really well, but also with some boundaries. Helen and I have been using Marblism for Penny is one of the, they call them AI employees. And you chat with them kind of like with ChatGPT or Claude, but you tell them each one what you want it to do in their specific lane. So Penny writes beautiful blog posts
with amazing images.
Sunny writes amazing social media posts for what are all of them? There's LinkedIn and X and Facebook page and Pinterest, by the way.
Yeah, Pinterest they just added.
Yep. Again, beautiful. The tough part I have with Sunny is not Sunny himself, is Facebook itself. Facebook doesn't allow you to see if I ask Sunny to do it, he'll go off and post. He gives me the stuff he creates, and I review it. Maybe I make some tweaks, maybe I don't, and I say, here, go off and either post them or schedule them, based on what it is I have in mind, and he'll do that. But Facebook will not let him post to anything but the business page.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, but I talk to him. I have a personal feed. I have Facebook groups. Can I do it? Sure. I have to go in Facebook and copy paste to wherever I want it to go. And is it doable? Of course. It just feels like
it's
more
like
work.
that with a lot of the stuff that does auto posts to Facebook. They only allow you to go to pages, not to personal profiles. Facebook will not allow third parties to post into groups. They really push them for pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kellen, you're more familiar, and probably Dean, with the Go High Level than I am. The same restriction exists in Go High Level, right?
Yep. You can only post to pages in Facebook. I can post to my LinkedIn, excuse me, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook page, and what's the other ones in there? And YouTube.
Yep.
They keep those are the ones I've got activated.
Okay, so Marblism keeps hinting that they'll allow us or create an agent to post to YouTube. Not, I don't know about YouTube, but TikTok. But as far as I know, they haven't done it yet. So Marblism is, as long as you stick within the specific, I don't want to say domain, but task domains for each employee, each agent, it's really great. As we discovered early on, Sarah, Stan does fabulous LinkedIn research, but even we ran quickly into some of Stan's limitations. So Stan also has you can set up a workflow for Stan, so it'll go research. Stan will go research your prospects in LinkedIn. It will send them an email or message within LinkedIn inviting people to connect. And then if you've set it up, once they make the connection, it will send a, hey, nice to meet you kind of email. So you can set those things up. That's useful. I find it more useful for research, Stan, myself, but I've had it make connections on my behalf. Does that help, Sarah?
Yeah, it does help. I was just wondering, do you feel like you and Helen are using Marblism? Do you feel like it has saved you time?
Yes.
Oh, Helen's yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
And And you obviously give those platforms permission to go into LinkedIn. I mean, they have your usernames and passwords and all that stuff, right?
Yep.
It doesn't have your
Okay.
username and password. What happens is when you go set it up,
Uh-huh.
you have to log into it, and it uses that connection, but it never gets your password.
No.
Oh, okay.
You have to go in every now and again and reconnect the connections.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
All
it'll
right.
only keep them for, some of them will do like 120 days, some do 90 days, some do 60, depending what platform you're on that you're using for the AI to
Yeah.
access.
Okay. All right. I'm doing another autonomous AI program for Facebook, and it's in beta right now, and it does the same thing. You have to log in, and then it connects to my Facebook.
Your
So
your Facebook feed?
yeah, well, yes, it goes to it scans. I don't know if the right word is scans, but it goes through it goes through either Facebook uh, public groups or people's pages. Like Tony Robbins' page or something like that. So I have to tell it where to go. That's
Okay,
so
well, keep us
yeah.
posted.
I'll keep you posted. Yeah. It's the closest thing I've had to an agent. So, yeah. Thanks.
Peggy.
Thanks, Terza. Thanks, Helen.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Peggy, were waving your hand. Oh, okay, just okay. And then Dean said, since I joined Claude Cowork, I found out about GitHub to get Claude skills. You should be able to get Claude skills directly in Claude also. A whole new world for me. Do you think we could do a Friday session on GitHub and how to use it? I'll see if is anyone else might be interested in that. Okay, Bridget, Dean, Emlyn. Okay. Yep, be happy to do that for a future session. It won't be this coming Friday, but maybe the Friday after. For sure, the Friday after. Let's see. I used the $20 version of ChatGPT. Does that include Codex? Yes.
Yes.
I hit my limit only a couple of times. Yep. Oh, Dean says, I watch Claude counting the tokens as I use it. Yes, those numbers. Yeah.
I mean, it's shocking. I don't know. Like when I joined the Google products, which is now Magico or whatever, it would say you have 1 million tokens, which sounds like a lot, and I used them in 2 hours, so it means nothing. But in Claude, every time I ask it something, Cowork anyway, it's sitting there counting them, and I'm seeing 178, and then I'll see another task, 240, and then 728 last night. And on one thing it was working. I go, uh-oh, I don't know how many I have, but this thing is going through a ton of them. And it's like a counter. It rolls.
Yeah.
It spirals, as it's doing its thing. And so, I mean, if I had the free version, I would have been like checked out already, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. This is going to be interesting to watch as we go. What was it? Somebody asked. Oh, Bridget, do you post all areas at once?
Yes and no. I will answer that one. Yes and no. When we do our ones for Zanekin Studios, we ask Sunny to post them at the optimal time for that platform.
Okay.
And there's
so
other times that we
that way.
want to do a push out where we want it to push out immediately. So we get it to post to all platforms at once. But when we're scheduling it, we have them schedule it to the optimal time for that platform.
Okay, I wasn't sure if there was a strategy with not posting the same thing twice in two different areas.
It's the
I-
same. So what it does. So when Sunny does the posts, we have him do them specifically for this one's going on LinkedIn. It needs to be in LinkedIn language. This one's going in Facebook. It needs to be in Facebook language. So each platform has its own language. So it's not the same post going to everything, and even the images are different based on the platform. So Sunny creates all of that. If I had to go in through and take 7 questions to go on 4 different platforms, there ain't no way in heck it's going to get done for that particular week. It'll be probably 2 weeks out if I have the time to do it. He does it in minutes, and then I go through, check all the posts, and then give him the okay, and he goes and schedules them at the optimal time for those particular platforms. Yeah. So he creates 28 posts every week in minutes. That's awesome. He actually did one time. He actually gave us four posts. One for each. No, he gave us 7 posts, one for each day, and he had them going to all the different 4 platforms exactly the same. And I went, no. And so we went back and changed them all, and we got them all scheduled.
Right.
So yes and no, depending on whether you need to push out a message immediately. If you want them posted all at the same time, you can do that, or you just ask them to optimize for the optimal time to be posted on those platforms.
And are you seeing a difference in your marketing effectiveness now that you're using Marblism?
I'm not ready to say that yet. I haven't started looking at analytics at all.
No, we haven't. And we've been on pause with a lot of the stuff for the last 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks. We're revamping things.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
which is why we haven't done a podcast for Zanekin in the same length of time, because we're revamping. Yes.
All right. So thank you everyone for coming and participating and asking questions and sharing what you're doing. And I will definitely work up a demo. First of all, if you found this demo that I did useful, let me know. And then I'd be happy to do another one using GitHub. And we'll start with, I'm thinking it might be a 2-parter because I want to explain what GitHub is and what it allows us to do. So, and then we'll take it from there. So, thank you, everyone. This will be posted up this afternoon using my new workflow, but I'll send the newsletter out tomorrow morning. All right. Take care, everyone.